So in summation, then we are saying God is saying have dominion over the fish of the sea. The man you are seeing there is one of the fishermen in Zambia. And I was asking him a question, how long have you been fishing? He says 15 years. I asked him further, how much money have you made in the 15 years of your fishing? He couldn't respond. But when we calculated, we saw that he could have made more than 6 million rand from the time he started fishing. But how much wealth have you invested in? He says, if you came to see my house, you will cry, doctor, because it is a sorry sight. So people can be fishing, can be doing businesses, but they are not growing their fortunes. So I tried myself to go into fishing business just to see if it works. So I'd go to Lake Kariba, buy fish, and then sell. Because as I said, I want to make sure that everything that I'm teaching works for me. So I discovered that every week, my wife and I would be making about 11,000 rand per week selling fish. So if I were to just scroll around, you can see the deep freezer that you see there. That is part of our fish handling thing. You have another one this side, and you have another one in the kitchen. So my house is really full of deep freezers that are used for things like fish business. So we go into that, and we see that it can bring you a lot of revenue. And so because of that, we take them to Tanzania just to go and experience someone, a young man who had actually started fishing. He did fish ponds just by his house. Those are the fish ponds that he did. In each of those fish ponds, he would have actually about 1,800 fish. So you can imagine how much money he would be making if you compute that into kilograms and how much fish you will be able to sell within a few months from the time he deposited the fingerings there. The chicken have dominion over the birds of the capacity to incubate maybe about 10 fans. The other lady that you see are 4,500 layers per day, and those layers are giving her a lot of money. I don't know, if it is 1 rand per egg, that is about 4,500 per day. And no chickens, they'll lay an egg every day, or even 2 sometimes. So they would not say today it's a Sabbath or it's Sunday, I will not lay an egg. They will lay whether they are worshiping or not. Pastor Chisha, the same pastor in that garden who removed the grass and did the cabbages, I would travel with him to Eswatini just for you to have interactions with him. But he's now moved actually from just doing those incubation of chickens. He's even now he's actually making incubators himself. He's an engineer there. He's supposed to
Okay, Doctor, I think we're losing you now.
graduate in August in Pretoria. He's been learning to be a pilot because he says, I want now to be flying a plane. This pastor, I think Pastor Mon has mentioned, and they continued beyond just managing the chickens. The pastor himself with his team were able to feed 300 to 500 children, I think, in the soup kitchen every day. And somehow, because of that working with the bishop, who is in the role of Pastor Amon, in Lesotho, they worked together, and he was given an award by the Queen of England. They call it the Commonwealth Points of Award. So you can see some of you may soon receive awards because of the work that you may start doing as a result of engaging positively in the community. Another pastor, Pastor Piri from Zambia, this is another one of our ambassadors who started from nothing. Now he's able to have all those animals. Okay, so I'm going towards my conclusion now, but I wanted to really give you the insight around what we are doing at our campsite. We have those sweet potatoes, and now we have about 4 hectares of sweet potatoes that we are planting, and we plant them on flat land. We try our best to obey God's order. And yesterday I was on the site teaching some people from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They begged that I teach them on a Sunday, so I had to adjust my Sunday and just be able to teach my colleagues. And we had a good time, just them learning how they can plant the sweet potatoes on a hectare. Now, if you can do the sweet potatoes on a hectare with good management, you can actually harvest between 200 to 400 metric tons if you really manage it well. So please get note of my caveat, with good management. Because I know people sometimes would argue, how can you manage that? It is these same sweet potatoes that you are seeing here that are enabling us to build our campsite, the complex that we are putting up, which will be able to accommodate 2,500 campers when we complete. So you can see those are the sweet potatoes on the ground. This was part of the World Vision family which came to visit the site. So those are the types of sweet potatoes that we are able to generate from our site. So you can see how big they can grow. So sweet potatoes are supposed to be that big. And these ones, for information, we didn't use any fertilizers. They are not, no fertilizer is used in this one. The tool that you are seeing, this with the measuring tapes, this is one of our disciples. I think, I don't know if, yeah, I think Pastor Amon, you met our sister Penaya or Patience in Livingstone. So that's the lady, after we trained, she went and practically did what we taught her. And she was amazed to find a sweet potato as long as 41 centimeters and with a circumference of almost 40 centimeters, as you can see in the next. You see the young man's sweet potato, it's almost half his height. Those are not exaggerated. There is no genetic modification here. It is just the sweet potatoes as God created them. And these are orange fleshed, and one of these can weigh up to 3 kg in most cases. You can see my sister there, the sweet potato almost reaching the length of a hand. So those are realities when you plant them as God intended. Remember, these are creepers. God says, dominate everything that creeps. So if you take the sweet potato and you plant it in a standing fashion, you have violated God's law. But if you put it as the creeper, and I'll make available the video that shows, I'll be able to send it via Pastor Amon, the video that gives you guidance on how you can plant this. When you plant it in this way as a creeper, because it creeps, it will give you those fruits. You can see where there is the drip line there. It has given me about 3 big sweet potatoes on one vine. So that's very important for us to take note of. That is my wife. So apart from sweet potatoes, we also sell the vines. So some people here just come to buy the vines. And when we sell those vines, we use the same money to start construction works. Okay, those are just notes that you'll be able to have. As I said, this is Pastor Chisha, just giving an example of what the sweet potatoes does. So from there, from having those sweet potatoes, now we are able to begin to build that complex. But even in building that complex, as I told you earlier, my wife is there selling. We started from a shop. So we've tested everything that we teach because we don't want to teach people something that hasn't worked for us. So from there, we went into sweet potatoes, and that is what is helping us to build the complex that we are showing you there. That will be 2,500 bed space capacity, and those are part of my working team that is able to construct using the sweet potatoes. This one, I think this is done also in Swaziland, where you can burn the bricks. That was the original idea. We wanted to burn the bricks from our campsite itself to start building, but we've changed now. We are using the block work with cement. So that is my boy. Sometimes he comes to help the father when he feels led by the Holy Spirit. You can see I also build. So that is me building there. When my builders don't show up, I decide to start building myself because I have no time to waste. I would want Pastor Amon and his team to come and visit my campsite soon. So after I retired last year in July, I was patched at the campsite to make sure that we do the best construction that we can. So we have significantly moved. The agricultural conference hall that you see in the background there is now working. So people are coming to already learn agricultural concepts using the methods that we are presenting to them. This is part of the World Vision team that came to visit. And that was me planting. And as you can see, the sweet potatoes in the background, a very important crop. The question, don't worry, we're almost done. Do plants need rain or they need water in order to grow? I can hear your answers. Obviously, it's water. Please take note of those 2 scriptures. But one of the scriptures that is very important is this one. When God says, when I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command locusts to devour the land, if my people who are called by my name. The point I wanted to highlight is that there will be the time when God shuts up the heavens. So no matter how much you pray, the heavens will remain shut because God has shut them. So God is saying, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I'll hear from heaven. He doesn't say you open the windows of heaven to send the rain. He just say, I'll hear from heaven, forgive their sins, and I'll heal their land. How is that linked to the other scripture? When God shut up the heavens, Isaac didn't start praying for the rain to come. He actually opened the wells that his father Abraham had dug, and using the wells, he was able to water the field. So basically, this is the concept God laid upon our hearts to say we can use the well, and we started so with the well that you see there, to water our gardens. But after that, as we continued raising money using some of the crops that we're growing, we managed to put up the water tank that you see there, which is powered by solar. So we are not paying any electricity company for anything. This is solar powered, and we are able to irrigate, or at least manage to irrigate our maize crops. Tomorrow morning, I think Wandile may be ready, I'm sure, to share some of his stories as well after the devotion. But this is just from my side. So with that maize, after we harvest the green maize, which you talked about, one group talked about selling the green maize, we are able to just cut the stalks, and then using the same stalks, they are able to support the tomatoes so that the tomato would be firm enough. So I'll not go chopping the trees to come and make them to be a support for the tomatoes. The same stalks that held the maize would remain now supporting. Now, if I go back to the selling of the maize, you can see this field. This is 1 hectare. If you told me the cost of maize in Eswatini could be even 7 rand maybe. So 1 hectare can give you 35,000 planting stations. In each planting station, you can plant about two maize seeds. And so that gives you 70,000 plants. And if each plant is giving you at least a minimum of two, this is 2 very big crops, you'll be able to have now 140. So let's just imagine, instead of you having 140, maybe you have 110. Maybe the others weren't giving you very good cobs. 110 cobs. If you are selling one at maybe even 5 emalangeni, how much money does that give you? 110, you multiply that by 5. That is the amount of money that you're able to make from 1 hectare of maize. After that, you can then go into your what? Into your tomatoes. So that concept that I shared earlier to say if you are sitting on 1 hectare, in 1 year you are basically sitting on 500,000 rand. That is the real proof. If you are selling it at 5 rand and you have 110, that is 510,000. I mean, yeah, 510,000 rand already from maize. And we'll talk about how you can manage the maize sales, and why some of your workers steal maize from you, and so you're sharing money between you and your worker. This speckled maize is basically the maize that God created, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow when we go into other dimensions of our teaching. But we have this seed now, we are selling it as a seed. Pastor Mlangeni, I don't know, unless maybe something stole his seed, he bought some. So Eswatini you may already have. I think we have also one of the leaders at the main church who may have this particular seed. This is the maize as God created it before it was separated into the different colors.